Good evening, welcome to KiniNews. I'm your host Prasad. In case you were enjoying the new Malaysia under the previous Pakatan Harapan government, I've got bad news for you. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi wants to bring back what he calls the original Malaysia. You know, the Malaysia before he got charged in court.
BN chairperson Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the coalition will return Malaysia to what it once was. He said this will replace the new Malaysia rhetoric introduced by Pakatan Harapan, which failed. He said this during his keynote speech at the BN convention on Wednesday. Zahid said while Harapan offered a new Malaysia, it undid tolerance between the races and attempted to rip apart the nature of bumiputera Malay Muslims.
Pendekatan Malaysia baru untuk mewujudkan kesamarataan, menggantikan prinsip kesaksamaan yang digagaskan BN telah melebarkan lagi jurang hingga mencetuskan kegusaran dan menajamkan prejudice hingga menggugat keharmonian.
In his speech, Zahid provided 5 steps for BN to meet the aspirations of the people. He said in an effort to restore the original Malaysia, BN needs to make a paradigm shift via an internal refinement process that will get the rakyat to provide their support again.
Yesterday, thousands of BN delegates stood up in support of Zahid's call for early elections. However, according to Anwar Musa, not all are actually in support of it, including himself.
Communications and Multimedia Minister Anwar Musa has admitted disobeying Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's call for those at the BN convention yesterday to stand and show support for fast-tracking the general election. Anwar claimed he was not the only one to do so. In a social media post, Anwar said he noticed many were at a loss. He said many stood up spontaneously while others waited to see if their friends got up or not. He added that some who stood up said their true stance was different. Yesterday, Zahid asked the 4,000 delegates at BN's 48th National Convention to stand if they support having the 15th general election as soon as possible. This was a show of strength to Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who has shown signs that he preferred to delay polls. Anwar, who is aligned with Ismail Sabri, said while he was not against early polls, BN needs to be truly ready before the election takes place. Earlier this week, Ismail Sabri told Nikkei it was not the right time for early polls due to inflation. However, to BN delegates yesterday, the Prime Minister said he would not wait 1 second longer to dissolve Parliament if the coalition was ready for polls.
Anwar Musa isn't alone. Nazri also disagrees with holding early elections, and he even has a word to describe those asking for it.
Padang Rengas MP Nazri Abdul Aziz has called politicians pushing for the next general election when the country is facing inflation selfish. Speaking to Malaysia Kini, the seasoned politician said such politicians do not think of the rakyat. He added that he fully supports Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who stated in an interview that he would wait for the right time to call an election, citing economic concerns. He said the government's interest now is the plight of the rakyat, especially with the inflation. In a recent interview with the financial newspaper Nikkei, Ismail Sabri reportedly downplayed calls for an early election, which came from within his own party, UMNO. On this, Nazri, who is also from UMNO, panned his comrades, who believed that now was the right time to call for the general election, as the opposition parties were in disarray. Under the current economic condition, he added, the country should be prepared to delay the election further, even up till the end of the current parliament's term. Nazri said when the time is up and the election is to be called, UMNO would not be blamed.
Malaysia's longest price control for chicken and eggs is set to continue until the end of June.
Price control for chicken and egg will be extended until the end of this month. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Alexander Nantalinggi said this was decided by the Cabinet yesterday. The price control was supposed to end on June 5th. The government has set a 8.9 ringgit per kg price ceiling for standard chicken and a 9.9 ringgit per kg for super dressed chicken between February 5th and June 5th. Egg prices were pegged at 43 cents per egg for grade A, followed by 41 cents per egg for grade B and 39 cents per egg for grade C. According to The Star, Putrajaya was studying proposals to channel subsidies to target groups in lieu of price control. Alexander said the Finance Ministry will look into the proposal for subsidies to be given to target groups and those in the low-income bracket. At 145 days, the price control for chicken and egg was the longest in Malaysian history. The price of poultry had risen since last year as the cost of production had increased, mostly due to pricier grain feed, which is mostly imported.
Most Malaysians were not the biggest fans of the GST when it was introduced by Najib. However, talk about GST 2.0 is exciting manufacturers.
The Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers has expressed support for a return of the goods and services tax. This comes after Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government was keen on reintroducing GST in a recent interview with Nikkei Asia. In a statement, FMM said it had surveyed 499 companies that strongly supported GST over the current sales and services tax. A GST rate of 4% was recommended by the FMM. It argued that such a rate would be conducive. The first iteration of GST was set at 6%. Meanwhile, the FMM added that corporate taxes should be reduced to 20%, down from 24% once GST is implemented. The FMM also suggested zero rating all essential goods and services while maintaining the previous GST system's registration threshold at 500,000 ringgit. GST was first introduced by the Najib Abdul Razak administration in 2015.
The Form 3 assessment exam is history as the government has decided to abolish it.
Form 3 assessment examination, which was introduced in 2014, will be abolished effective this year. The announcement was made today by Senior Minister of Education Muhammad Razzi Jidin. The examination was cancelled in 2020 and 2021 following the COVID-19 pandemic. Razzi said the Ministry of Education will enhance the school-based assessment comprising 3 components. They are the classroom assessment, physical, sports and curricular activities assessment, and psychometric assessment. The minister added that even though there is no central assessment, students will sit for the end-of-the-year test, using the question bank provided by the MOE for all subjects.
2 issues stood out when the anti-hopping bill was presented to Cabinet, and the Select Committee has a week to refine it.
The Special Select Committee working on a bill to restrict MPs from switching parties has been instructed to refine 2 issues. Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the Select Committee would deliberate on those 2 issues on June 7th before finalising the bill. However, Wan Junaidi said he was bound by Standing Order 85 and could not reveal further details. The minister said this in a statement today following the Cabinet meeting yesterday. Attorney General Idris Harun had presented the bill during the meeting. While the Cabinet did not object to the draft proposed by the Select Committee, the 2 issues were raised to be refined. On May 27th, Wan Junaidi revealed that the new law would not cover MPs who are sacked by their parties, nor parties which switched coalitions. For the record, there have been 39 MPs that have switched parties since the 2018 general elections.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.